Destiny versus dominance. Belief versus talent. In the storied history of the Champions League, some finals transcend mere football matches to become defining moments in the sport's history. Today, we explore an epic encounter that showcased everything that makes this competition the pinnacle of club football. When Manchester United faced Bayern Munich in 1999, it wasn't just a final. It was a spectacular collision of footballing philosophies. English grit versus German efficiency. English experience versus German discipline. Revenge versus redemption. How does a team go from certain defeat to champions of Europe in just 101 seconds? How does a Scottish manager build a team with such unwavering belief? And how does a young coaching genius create perhaps the greatest club side ever seen? This is the story behind why the 1999 Champions League final will never be forgotten. And hey, if you love football stories like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And now, let's get started. The 1998-99 season was a truly historic one for Manchester United, one that would go down as the most iconic in the club's illustrious history. Under the steely leadership of Sir Alex Ferguson, the Red Devils had already achieved domestic dominance, clinching the Premier League title after a tightly contested race with Arsenal. Just days later, they lifted the FA Cup at Wembley, sweeping aside Newcastle United with a commanding performance. With 2 trophies in the bag, they now stood on the brink of an achievement no English club had ever completed: the treble. Only one game remained, the UEFA Champions League final. But standing in their way were the giants of German football, Bayern Munich, a team with pedigree, power, and precision. Unlike United, Bayern had strolled to the Bundesliga title, showcasing their superiority with commanding performances throughout the season. In Europe, they had built a reputation as perennial contenders, consistently reaching the latter stages of the competition. This was not a team that faltered on big occasions. In fact, at this stage of the tournament, they rarely, if ever, lost. They were a side built for glory. Their squad was a fortress of experience and quality. Between the sticks stood the indomitable Oliver Kahn, one of the greatest goalkeepers of his generation, whose presence alone could unnerve strikers. In the midfield, the fierce and commanding Stefan Effenberg marshaled play with ruthless efficiency, while the legendary Lothar Matthäus brought decades of experience and the calm of a veteran who had seen it all. With such a blend of steel, strategy, and star power, Bayern looked every inch the champions in waiting. Yet, Sir Alex Ferguson's United team was not just any challenger. They were a side driven by belief, fueled by character, and bound by a never-say-die spirit. Throughout the season, they had become masters of comebacks, specialists in last-minute drama, and believers in the impossible. The manager, never short on vision or confidence, summed it up perfectly before the final. It's destiny time, a date with history. Ferguson's confidence wasn't empty bravado. It was the culmination of over a decade of hard work, transformation, and an unshakable culture of resilience that he had instilled at Old Trafford. He had nurtured a team of both youthful exuberance and veteran calm, blending academy graduates like David Beckham, Paul Scholes, and Ryan Giggs with battle-hardened warriors such as Roy Keane, Dwight York, and Andy Cole. As they prepare to step onto the pitch at Barcelona's Camp Nou Stadium on May 26, 1999, the stakes could not have been higher. 90 minutes separated them from immortality. A win would not only cap off the most successful season in the club's history, but also cement Manchester United's place among football's greatest dynasties. To understand Ferguson's confidence, we need to go back to 1968, when United won their first European Cup under Sir Matt Busby. That victory came after the tragedy of Munich, where 8 players lost their lives in the air disaster of 1958. The 1968 triumph was more than just a trophy. It was a tribute to those lost and the fulfillment of Busby's dream to make United champions of Europe. 31 years later, Ferguson's men were chasing their own piece of history. Both teams' journeys to Barcelona were filled with drama. In the group stage, they faced each other directly, with Bayern taking 4 points from United after a win at the Olympic Stadium and a draw at Old Trafford. United barely scraped through the group with 9 points, while Bayern topped it comfortably. The knockout round showed both teams' character. Bayern crushed Kaiserslautern 6-0 on aggregate in the quarterfinals, displaying their attacking prowess and defensive solidity. They followed this with a professional performance against Dynamo Kiev in the semifinals, winning 4-3 on aggregate to book their ticket to Barcelona. United's path was more treacherous and would foreshadow their never-say-die attitude in the final. The deadly duo of Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole helped them past Inter Milan in the quarters, with United showing tactical discipline to secure a vital 1-1 draw at the San Siro after winning 2-0 at Old Trafford. Then came the epic semi-final against Juventus, perhaps the perfect preview of their comeback abilities. After a 1-1 draw in Old Trafford, United found themselves down 2-0 in Turin within 11 minutes. Captain Roy Keane, despite receiving a yellow card that would rule him out of the final, delivered one of the most inspirational performances in Champions League history. His header started the comeback, followed by goals from Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole to win 3-2 on the night and book their ticket to Barcelona. When the final kicked off at Camp Nou, Bayern quickly took control. Mario Basler scored from a free kick in the 6th minute, curling it around the United wall and past Peter Schmeichel. The goal stunned United, and for the next 85 minutes, Bayern dominated the match with their technical prowess and tactical discipline. Mehmet Scholl hit the post with a delicate chip, and Karsten Janker rattled the crossbar with a bicycle kick. United seemed unable to find their rhythm, with Bayern's midfield trio of Jens Jeremies, Stefan Effenberg, and Mario Basler controlling the tempo of the game. As the clock ticked down, Ferguson made his final throw of the dice. He had already introduced Teddy Sheringham for Jesper Blomqvist, and with just 9 minutes of regular time remaining, he brought on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for Andy Cole, a substitution that would enter football folklore. United seemed beaten as the match entered 3 minutes of stoppage time. Bayern fans were already celebrating, their scarves raised high. The trophy was being decorated with Bayern ribbons on the sideline. All hope appeared lost for the English side. Then came those miraculous 101 seconds that would change football history forever. In the 91st minute, United won a corner. Goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel, in his final appearance for the club, charged forward in desperation. Though he didn't connect with the delivery, the ball was cleared only as far as Ryan Giggs on the edge of the box. His mishit shot found its way to Teddy Sheringham, who swept it home to equalize. The United fans erupted. Extra time seemed inevitable. But Ferguson's men weren't settling for that. Before Bayern could psychologically recover from the equalizer, United won another corner. David Beckham, whose precise deliveries had been a weapon all season, swung it into the near post. Sheringham flicked the ball on, and there was Solskjaer to poke it into the roof of the net with an instinctive finish. From despair to jubilation in the blink of an eye, the Norwegian striker slid on his knees in celebration, soon buried under a pile of ecstatic teammates. On the touchline, Ferguson and his assistant Brian Kidd could barely believe what they had witnessed. Bayern players collapsed to the ground in disbelief. The cruelty of football laid bare in those dying moments. When the referee blew the final whistle shortly after, United had completed the treble, the first English team ever to do so. It wasn't just a victory, it was football destiny fulfilled in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. The images of Samuel Kofauer hammering the ground in tears, and Lothar Matthäus's face frozen in shock after being substituted minutes before the collapse, stand a stark contrast to United's euphoria. For Bayern, it was heartbreak that would haunt them for years, though they would find redemption by winning the competition in 2001. For United, it was the night when the impossible became possible, a defining moment that cemented Ferguson's legacy as one of football's greatest managers, and this team as perhaps his finest creation. The triumph showcased everything that made Ferguson's United special: resilience, belief, and clinical finishing when it mattered most. No team before or since has won the Champions League final after trailing for 85 minutes and scoring twice after the 90th minute. It remains a unique achievement in the competition's illustrious history. 25 years later, that night in Barcelona remains one of football's most dramatic finales, a testament to the unpredictable nature of the sport and the power of never giving up. Is Bayern Munich still haunted by those 101 seconds? Well, if you enjoyed this incredible story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic tales from football history. And click the next video to find out.